In 1994, the world was introduced to the world of gargoyles. By day, these magical creatures stood as guardians over their castle in a stone form, but at night they were released as large, gigantic beings who fought evil and cared for their homeland. While originally existing in ancient Europe, they now exist in New York City because plot points and because evil magic people. But the real reason that they're in the modern day is because of the actions of one individual when they allowed bitterness to get into their heart. And today on Geek Devotions, we're going to talk about bitterness and why we need to avoid it. Hello, Devoted Geeks, and welcome to Geek Devotions, show from Devoted Geeks who are devoted to letting you know you're loved. I'm Dalton. I'm so glad you hit the play button today. If you're new to our show, we take geek pop culture items like movies, video games, comic books, and we use them to let you know you're loved. So if you don't watch past this moment, know this: we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. It is sci-frights here at Geek Devotions. All month long, we're looking at slightly creepy, some scientific-y type of movies, TV shows, comic books, and we're using them to let people know they're loved. And today, I'm doing a little bit of a stretch with it because, hey guys, we're looking at Gargoyles, one of my favorite cartoons from when I was a kid. And let me tell you guys something, it still holds up. That animation, primo. The storytelling, primo. Love it so much. And on top of that, they just re-released the game, remastered it, which, you know, we're going to be having a full-fledged review of that on our website and here on YouTube. And depending on what time you're watching this, I may actually be streaming it live on our YouTube channel. If you're unfamiliar with the story of Gargoyles, basically you have this race of beings called the Gargoyles, and while protecting their castle, the leader is led off to take on some Vikings. Unbeknownst to him is that this was a kind of a trick, and while it was meant originally for the Vikings to take out these people because one person was angry at them, the rest of the clan was taken out also. All of his people were destroyed except for a small handful. Grieved by this, he asked the mage of the city to turn him and his friends into stone. And part of the whole portion of the spell that was put in place was that they would not be released from their stone until the castle was above the clouds. Flash forward to modern times, a man named David Xanatos does just that. He moves the entire castle from Europe and puts it on top of a skyscraper in New York City. Through a series of events, you discover that David Xanatos is not quite a nice individual, but also helping him is a very interesting person. Another gargoyle named Demona. See, the truth is revealed that Demona is partially to blame for the death of most of her clan. See, Demona had some real ill feelings toward the humans. They were really inappropriate, and they feared her, and they said terrible things. And they treated the gargoyles like trash. And her anger fueled this action that she took where she basically tricked Goliath, and unfortunately it led to the death of all of her people. But even though she understood that what she did led to the death of all of her people, she still couldn't even admit her part in it. She blamed the humans. Bitterness sunk into her heart and led her to do some terrible actions. And if you watch the series, you discover that she lived for thousands of years from that point on. And that bitterness fueled every step of her journey to the point that she came to being in the modern series. Bitterness is a dangerous thing, and when it takes root in an individual, it causes a world of trouble. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 15 says this: "See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it become defiled." See, what takes place is that when we allow bitterness to take root in our lives, it overrides our mindset, and instead of walking in what's good and healthy, we tend to go left field. And even though we know what's wrong and what is right, our bitterness leads us into the world of doing what's wrong for the sake of getting back at somebody or for doing damage to somebody else, regardless of the ramifications beyond that middle point, what took place. What's interesting about this series is that Goliath, he had his own anger and his own bitterness towards the humans. But when he came out of stone, he met an individual, a human, and instead of instantly just being done with humans altogether, he gave this person an opportunity to prove themselves and show them that not all humans are terrible individuals. Demona, on the other hand, did not. She allowed the bitterness to take root, and every time she gave into that bitterness in order to get back at the humans, it ended up hurting more and more of her own people. There are people out there, and perhaps you yourself, there's some stuff that you're angry about, and it's gotten into your heart. Now, these may be some legitimate, valid reasons to be angry at somebody or a situation. People may have hurt you. There are situations in life that are unfair, and there's a legitimate reason to be angry. However, We cannot allow that to take root and become a level of bitterness where we just blanket that everyone of a certain grouping are just terrible individuals. We have to have a level of grace for people. And it's hard. It's really difficult. In my own life, I've had to overcome bitterness towards certain individuals and certain things because I understood that when I had that bitterness, it caused me to make terrible decisions. It caused me to not just look at the individual who hurt me, but see an entire group of people who maybe had nothing to do with it and are great and valid individuals. So what do we do with this? What is the encouragement for us? My encouragement for you guys is this. Examine your hearts. Are there individuals, are there groups of people that perhaps you have some bitterness in your heart up towards? It's time to forgive them. It's time to remove that bitterness and stop allowing that to taint everything that's in your life. If you allow this to sit, there are decisions that you are going to make out of spite because of the bitterness in your heart that will end up harming you and those you love in a major way. At the same time, I want to put this out there. The bitterness that Demona had came from prejudice. It came from a place of being abused and being mistreated. I want to encourage you to be cognitive of the people around you and how you treat people. You could inadvertently hurt someone in a real way that causes bitterness in their hearts, not just towards you as an individual, but towards a wide grouping of folks. So I want to encourage you, be cognitive of how you speak to people. Be cognitive of how you respond to the things in the world around you. There may be stuff that's taking place that you don't understand or you flat out disagree with, but you need to be careful on how you respond to those things. Because if you don't, you will cause a root of bitterness in somebody's heart that will end up not just hurting them and their community, perhaps you in your community too. Question of the week for you guys. Gargoyles was a Disney cartoon series that came on in the mid-early 90s. And I'm telling you, I loved it. It's up there for me as one of those series that I just love. There's something about it that draws me to it. So I want to know from you guys, what cartoon series from the 90s or maybe just from your childhood do you have so much nostalgia for it, you love it so much, and you feel like it still holds up today? Leave a comment and let me know. I want to give a very special thank you to everyone who supports us here at Geek Devotions. Some of you guys support us by encouraging us through messages and taking part in our community and sitting and all that kind of stuff. Some of you guys, you support us by sharing our videos or sharing our pages and our articles that we write. Thank you so very much for taking time to do those things. I also want to give a special thank you to our devoted Patreon geeks, people who, for as little as $1 a month, they help support what we do here. They help to fund the equipment that we use to film these episodes, to write our devotions, to do events. They helped us to go to GeekCon last year. They have helped us do so many things, and we are so thankful for their investment into Geek Devotions and to Celeste and I and our team. It's a genuine blessing, and we are humbled to have you as part of what's taking place here at Geek Devotions. If you'd like to become a devoted Patreon geek, visit our website, geekdevotions.com, and check out our support page where you can find different ways you can support us. Well, I do want to remind you guys to make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and take part in our community on Discord. Why? Because that's the point of Geek Devotions, to be community, to do life with people, to encourage them. And if you're not taking part in community, we can't love you as a community. We want to love you. We want to encourage you guys. We want you guys to be in our streams on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Twitch, where we're playing video games, we're praying for people, we're having fun doing life. We want you in our Discord. We want you in our Facebook group, The Devoted Geek Life. All for one reason. I want to let you know you're loved, you're cared for. There's a plan and purpose for your life. So, until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.